everybody, and welcome to another all fresh new Taff's Word. And today's topic is going to be obviously mainly the current league form going into a very busy period. The Leicester game, of course, and the club's dealing with the ticket demand. Also, the Lincoln model of keeping fans and how do we replicate it. So, starting first with our current league form. Our current league form hasn't been good. The away form that we managed to generate at the beginning of the season has dwindled out because we don't seem to be doing anything away, which puts you in a little bit of a fearful feeling ahead of our Lincoln game tomorrow, as they are one of the best teams in the league, and at their place, no one is really going to fancy us. Even our own fans, truly won't fancy us to go up there and get anything. But it's against the bigger clubs that we tend to bring it. But then again, that's when we're at home against them. Like when we beat Stevenage, when we beat Colchester more recently. It was at home. Away from home, we've been particularly poor against poor teams like Crawley and Cheltenham, for example. So what's going on with the squad at the moment? I mean, we've had injuries and suspensions and things like that, of course. So, we haven't been able to keep a stable 11 going. This time around, we're going to have near enough a full squad to choose from. Everybody's coming back. So Flinney is going to have a selection headache on his hands at the moment. But for me, that's fine, because when you've got a selection headache, it means that players are either performing or we've got a very good squad to choose from. Hopefully he chooses the right team this time, because Swindon is another example of a poor away performance. Except for the second half. I mean, we didn't deserve to lose that game. No way. But, we played poorly. And if we play like that against Lincoln, we'll find ourselves, as we probably should have been against Swindon, 3 or 4 down, at half-time. Lincoln will punish us and put us 3 or 4 down by half-time if we don't bring it. I think the players tend to bring it when it comes, when they're really tested. That's when they tend to bring it well. When they're really tested, when there's a lot at stake. And 3 points at Lincoln would be absolutely effing invaluable. And so hopefully, we can go up there and at least get something. I'll tell you what, I would take a draw right now. If someone said you can go to Lincoln, you can get a good draw, I would absolutely snap their arms off for it, because it would be a good point. It'll keep us in the playoff places, and it'll prove a point that we can compete in this league this season, at the top end. So I can't see any reason why we can't push on for promotion, given the performances we put in so far. I mean, performances against the smaller teams, that's where we're faltering. But I think you find that when we got players who can fight against better players, it brings the fight out of them when they're up against them. Whereas when we're put in the position where we're the favourites to win the game, and we're getting that kind of fight from the smaller teams, we don't seem to be generating the quality to deal with it. But then we've had quality on the sidelines a lot, like Matt Dolan's had injuries, and he's been an excellent player for us this year. Scott Bennett's been one of our better players, and he's been sidelined. We got Labardi back. He's currently sidelined. Well, not sidelined as such, but working his way back into the team. So the potential's there for us to have, the squad and the starting 11 on a regular basis to push ourselves up in this league. But we've got to get some consistency. That's the key. And the injuries have scuppered our opportunities to generate that bit of consistency, to be honest with you. But there we go. Going against Lincoln, we got to be positive. We've got to feel as though we can go there and get something, because we have done in the past. We've gone places and got something. No one expected us to get anything at Tranmere, especially on the back of losing 6-0 to Yeovil. But we went up there and won 1-0. We can frustrate teams. Good teams who are good coming forward, we know how to frustrate them. Catch them out on the break. Catch them unawares. So hopefully we can do that to Lincoln. We can surprise them, because a lot of their fans are expecting to roll over us. Yeah. You write Newport County off, and that's when you generate the best out of us. So I'm glad they're doing that. But then, pushing on. Leicester tickets. Now, there's been a lot of good things being said about the way the club has been dealing with the distribution of Leicester City tickets. Now, I know Tottenham was a nightmare last year with the hours of queuing. I mean, I was lucky because I'm a volunteer, signed up volunteer, and I get my ticket for free. That's something I haven't got to worry about. So I don't envy anybody who has to queue up for their ticket, especially last year with the Tottenham game. But Leicester seems to be going through a lot smoother. Maybe that's because the demand isn't quite as high. But it's the same people going down who would have gone down on day one of the Tottenham game, the season ticket holders and the trust members. I know there were some issues with trust membership and everything like that. I mean, that's what I call an administrative blip. A couple of people had a bit of a poor sales experience, but the majority of people are coming back saying about how quickly they got their ticket, how great the service was. So you can't fault that. So, it's good. It's good to see the club are learning, as we're going along. I mean, Tottenham was something we'd never really dealt with before. Then obviously with Leicester now, we're better prepared for it. And I say the demand will be slightly less, but it'll still be a very highly anticipated game. Would be the hottest ticket in the city, come game day. So pushing on from there. I mentioned obviously retaining supporters, and obviously we've mentioned Lincoln. We're going up to Lincoln, and it's a good time to obviously bring them up and their example of how they've pretty much trebled their support, and it was on the back of one good season. I mean, they obviously won the conference. Fair play to them. They had a cracking season because they got to the quarter-final of the FA Cup that season, beating Burnley away. For a non-league team to go to a Premier League team away and win, that was absolutely spectacular, considering Burnley had a very good season last year. So, Lincoln, no doubt, they obviously generate a lot of local interest in the club because of what they were going through. But then, you look at us, since 2010, we've had 2 promotions. Is it 3 trips to Wembley, a great escape, some high-profile cup games. We should have been able to treble our support quite easily. I mean, technically you can say we have in a way, but no. After our first promotion, we were getting 4,000 over Spitty Park. Then within 2 years, that dwindled down to 1,000 to between 1,000 and 1,500. Then the move to Rodney Parade brought some of the interest back. Now, I know there would be a lot of people out there who were happy with their non-league days because when we were a smaller club, the people at the top have got the opportunity to generate a little bit more power for themselves at the club. And then the bigger we get, the lesser power they get. So you find that people have walked away from the club because of that. People who are used to having a cushy little day, being able to do whatever they want, not many people around to bother them, cheap day, at some obscure ground, wherever, they prefer to be there, and that's really unfortunate because you can tell then that they're not supporters of the club. They're what we call a regular day tripper, because if you're not with the club when it moves forward, then you were in it for yourself from the very beginning. You weren't in it for the club. So in a way you can say we're sort of better off without that kind of support. Well, I wouldn't even call it support. That's a poor word to use, but then saying that, we need people. So why can't these people just get on board with the direction we're moving in? I mean, we've been spoilt. This decade, the tens decade, we have, as Newport County supporters, have been spoilt bloody rotten. We've had a lot. I mean, we've had some tough times, but then you've got to take the rough with the smooth in football. I mean, we had 2 poor years, which ended on a major high. And now we're on a big high and we're coasting off the back of that now. And we're moving in a good direction. As long as we don't lose our manager and it upsets the apple cart, we're moving in a very good direction. So why can't we retain this support? Now, I'd say it's a very easy and a very convenient excuse to use. Oh, Newport, the people of Newport are fickle. People of anywhere are fickle. People are people. I mean, they're people who like jumping on bandwagons. But how do you keep them on that wagon? Now, you're going to scare them off if you label them a plastic. Now, the people who came to Tottenham, we had about 8 to 8,500 in the home end. So why can't we retain at least a percentage of that support? Because they're getting chased off because they're being labelled as plastics. Oh, you don't come to the county. I've been going for years. I come to every game. I do. That pisses me off, and I saw a lot of that going on during that Tottenham game. And it wasn't worth starting the arguments, you know, and telling people to stop, because I wanted to enjoy the experience myself instead of arguing with people throughout it. And you're seeing it, oh, I've been coming here for years, who the fuck do you think you are? You know, get out of my fucking spot, I've been coming here for years. I'm like, fuck off, you know? These people have just as much of a right to be there as anyone, because they paid the exact same amount of money as you. I mean, yeah, I know you can poke at me and say, oh yeah, but you don't pay for your ticket because you volunteer. That's all right. I make £300, £300 plus for the club every game, you know, by standing in the fucking pissing down rain, you know, and I don't complain. I don't ask for anything else other than a ticket into the game. Only for the cup games, I buy my season ticket every year. So I quite selflessly stand there in the freezing cold, you know, my fingers nearly falling off. So I think for the cup games, I think maybe I can be let off with, you know, taking my ticket for that one, you know. But I do buy my season ticket every year. But I don't know where the entitlement comes from. Why are you smug? You know, and the people, I hope they can hear what I'm saying now. Why be so smug because you've been going for years? I mean, if you care about the club at all, you'll want to see the fan base, you know, expand. I mean, the same people are moan, you know, like I do, about people who'd rather put their money into, you know, clubs who already got millions and millions of pounds. You know, why not show a bit of love to your local club? And, oh, I tell you what, last night on my Facebook, Jesus Christ, right? If any of you got me on Facebook and you've seen the link that I shared last night about the county players going to the local hospital, I mean, my God, I mean, that nearly melted my brain completely, that did, you know. What, you know, look, basically the whole point is our club are doing a lot for our community, so why is our community turning their back on our club and going to a club miles away? And I use the whole point of, you don't see Liverpool, Man United and all the other big clubs coming down to Newport. Now, I'm not saying they don't do it in their own places, in their own communities, but they don't come down to Newport and do anything for our community. So why is our community doing so much for them? I mean, you can always follow both. I mean, everyone's got, the one lad who commented, who actually backed me up, referred to it as a telly team. Yeah, everyone's got a telly team. And sometimes you might want to fancy going up to go and watch that telly team live, and that's fine. But why would you to completely ignore the fact that you've got a Football League team on your doorstep? That's the point I'm trying to make, you know? I mean, people say, oh, why would they come down to Newport, you know? But then they go into their own communities. Yes, exactly, their own communities. And that's the whole bloody point, is that they got their communities miles away. We've got our own community here in Newport. So that's the whole point. We got a team here in Newport that needs the support to push forward. I mean, we're in League 2 at the moment. We've got a Football League team on our doorstep, and the possibilities are there for us to push forward if the community, the people of Newport, get behind the club. That's the point I try to freaking make, you know? And I just cannot understand why that was so lost on people and why people had to mock me just because they were too dull to understand what the fuck I was going on about. Jeez. I mean, try and understand my point before you actually poke the finger at me and make out as if I'm strange or something like that, you know? I'm trying to make a very valid point there, you know? Anyway, it riled me up a little bit, you know, the reactions on that, but at the end of the day, you know, I love everybody who go to the county, and that's the worst part of it. The majority of these people were county supporters. Why are the county supporters having a pop at me? Because I'm having a pop at people that turn their nose up at the club when we want to see them progress, for fuck's sake. We'll progress when we get the more support, like Lincoln. What are Lincoln doing to retain their fans? First of all, you don't hear Lincoln fans calling each other plastic. You know, there's no entitled Lincoln fans. Lincoln fans appreciate the extra support they're getting, making them feel welcome, and making the whole experience so good that they want to keep coming back. That's the secret behind it. That's got to be. You know, I mean, people are the same. People want the same things. You want to get on a bandwagon. But how do you get people to stay on that bandwagon? Well, you put your arm around them and give them a reason to stay on that effing bandwagon. So there's the point I'm trying to bloody make. Let's get these people over to the county, get our arms around them and say, I want to see you next week. You know, you're very welcome. Come on, you know, this is what it's all about. You keep coming and more days like this will happen. You know, more big seasons will happen and there will be some good times to be had for us all together as a city, as a county, as a section of South Wales, and we can do it proudly, we can do it together, and that's the point. Anyway, yeah, I could talk all bloody day about this, but there we go. I'm going to leave you to it now, guys. Thanks very much for watching, and for those of you who aren't going to Lincoln, and if I don't see you beforehand, have a very Merry Christmas. And a big thank you to everybody who helped get us to 2,000 subscribers as well. That's a massive achievement for us, and it's very, very much appreciated by us all here at the Amber Army YouTube channel. Thank you again, and as always, cheerio for now, and up the county. Many thanks for watching the latest content on the Amber Army channel. Please make sure you leave us a like. Make sure you subscribe for more content, both for the neutral football fan and also plenty of Newport County. Even more Newport County content can be found on the club's iFollow channel on the link above. It is just £4.49 per month to subscribe to that service. And those of you feeling extra generous can also support us on Patreon on the link at the bottom there. That would be a monthly donation of your choice. Thank you again, make sure you've subscribed, and as always, up the county.